So we have already read it, she says. So I will read each sentence and we'll discuss it. Okay?
Yes.
Everybody online? Only three of you today.
Yes, Radha.
Yes.
You may join a little later, it's possible. Okay. So I'm reading each sentence. The renunciation of attachment to the work and its fruit is the beginning of a wide movement towards an absolute equality in the mind and soul, which must become all enveloping if we are to be perfect in the spirit. Now, this renunciation of attachment to the work, okay, we have already given the example of Sri Aurobindo, the best possible example, okay, even at that level, this can happen. So, what about our poor souls? We have nothing, okay. So, when you are doing a work which you think is very important, you get attached to it and you feel that you're doing. This attachment can be very at a lower level of consciousness. But for Sri, it was at a very high level of consciousness. He is working for the country. He is sacrificing everything that he has done. And yet that attachment was there. Okay, so all everybody is joined together. Yasmin, Shilpa, and Archana. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
Good morning,
everybody. Good
Radha.
morning,
Good morning,
Radha.
everybody.
Yes, we are reading from, we are just beginning. Bonjour, everybody. Yes. So, page 223, the renunciation of attachment to the work. Okay. You may wonder, in the ashram, for instance, people are given assignment for work. Okay. You go and work somewhere. Okay. There was a Deepankar doctor was there. He was there in the dispensary, and he was sent to the children's dispensary. It's a change of work. Okay. And sometimes, for instance, I was in the press and I changed the work and I was sent to knowledge. Okay. Then from knowledge I have been sent to Mother India. So change of work. But in our case, our attachment, if at all we have any attachment, is selfish and at a lower level of consciousness. But even when it is at a high level of consciousness, attachment can be there. I gave the example of Sri Aurobindo, okay? He is not working for himself at all. He is working for the country. And still there was a little attachment because he thought he is doing very good work. And of course he did fantastic work. But that little bit of attachment which was there, Swamila is saying now that also has to go. Okay. And the fruit of the beginning. Okay. In fact, Swamila left the revolutionary work much before the fruit came. He left it in 1910 and the fruit came 35 years later, 37 years later, 1947. Okay. So, but because he had done the right thing, he was rewarded. Na? His birthday became the date of the liberation of India. Okay. And Sri Aurobindo says very clearly in his message that I take it as a divine sanction on the work that I am doing. So, but he also adds a little humorously that he gave me a double gift. Okay, he gave me India and Pakistan. I could have done without an extra generosity. So this I am reading the sentence. The renunciation of attachment to the work and its fruit is the beginning of a wide movement towards an absolute equality in the mind and soul, which must become all enveloping if we are to be perfect in the spirit. Now you may wonder, Swami is mentioning also soul. Soul is perfectly divine. It has already got lack of attachment. Why is he mentioning soul? But that's not true. Remember that your soul is a divine presence in you, but it is in moha, it is in delusion. It has been covered up by so many layers. It has forgotten what it is. It has to recover its own identity. Okay. So always the inner being first changes and then the outer changes. Okay. I remember once Champaklalji, okay, he was all the time with Sri Aurobindo and his inner being certainly had changed, but he used to get angry quite quickly. Okay. So there was a boy, a Swiss boy, who told me I can't understand Champakalal. He is all the time Mr. Aurobindo, and yet he gets angry. Why his outer nature also did not change? He didn't even say outer nature. Why his nature did not change? But he did not know that first there is an inner being that changes, and the outer remains for a long time. It continues with its old habits, but inside you are absolutely free. So, at our level, we are neither free outside nor inside. The soul is not awakened at all. So that's why it's mentioning the soul. Okay, so I go to the next sentence. For the worship of the master of works demands a clear recognition and glad acknowledgement of him in ourselves. You know, clear recognition, huh? Not a vague idea that yes, I have a divine soul within me. No, you must know what it is. You must identify yourself with it. Very, very clear. See, he's saying clear recognition you must have, and a glad acknowledgement, not a theoretical thing, but you must know that, and you are very happy that you have recognized your own soul. Glad acknowledgement of him in ourselves, in all things, in all happenings. So in ourselves, the immanent divine. In all things and in all happenings, cosmic. You see the divine in the cosmos. Okay. So, equality is the sign of this adoration. When you have become absolutely equal, then it means that your adoration is perfect. Okay, so that's what he's saying. The renunciation of attachment, just 1 second. The renunciation of attachment, 1 second, I'll bring it down to 155. 150. Yes, so for the worship of the master of works demands a clear recognition and glad acknowledgement of him in ourselves, in all things and all happenings. Equality is the sign of this adoration. If your adoration is perfect, then your equality also will come. It is the soul's ground on which true sacrifice and worship can be done. Sacrifice can be done, but it becomes absolutely true and real and complete when you have this adoration and equality. Okay? Because you're not bothered about anything at all, equality. So you give yourself fully. The Lord is there equally in all beings, not only in yourself, but in all beings. Okay? We have to make no essential distinction between ourselves and others. That can come only when you are at the cosmic consciousness level. Okay? But that he has already mentioned, in all things and all happenings is a cosmic consciousness. Okay? Because you may see the divine in yourself, but not in other things. Okay? And sometimes you can see the divine in others, but not in yourself. That also is possible. He has mentioned that. Okay? So, the Lord is there equally in all beings. We have to make no essential distinction between ourselves and others. The wise and the ignorant, friend and enemy, man and animal, saint and sinner, the saint and the sinner. We must hate none, despise none, be repelled by none. But not interesting. That doesn't mean to say that you see the saint and the sinner as equal. No, you see the distinction between them, but you are not affected. Normally, if I see a saint, I will be I'll have respect for him. And when I see a sinner, I'll have disgust for him. But that is not to be done. That's exactly what Sandhya is saying. You have to be absolutely equal to everybody. You should not be affected by anybody. The saint is, of course, another matter. If he's your guru, it's a different matter. Okay, so now this is the Gita's chapter 5, verse 18. Okay, so he says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshini. The one who is already equal, he is absolutely equal to a Brahmin who is endowed with wisdom and humility. And the Gavi is a cow, and the horse, and the dog. Okay? And even Shvapaka is the Shudra. You are absolutely untouched by all these differences. You are absolutely the same. Now, Sridhar continues. He is a little revealed in one and more revealed in another, or concealed and wholly distorted in others, according to his will and his knowledge of what is best for that which he intends to become in form, in them, and to do in works in their nature. So, depending on the nature of the individual or the thing, okay, the divine reveals himself in that to that extent. And he's saying very interesting here, he's a little revealed in one. Okay? Even when you are awakened, you may not see the divine fully in everybody. Okay, in the record of yoga, he has mentioned something very interesting. He says that sometimes you see in a beautiful face, it is easier to see the divine. He is revealed more easily because even the outer is harmonious and beautiful. So the divine is more easily recognizable in beauty. But sometimes when there is an ugly face, you may not recognize the divine. You will recognize the divine, but it is less revealed. That's what I'm very saying. It's interesting because beauty also is part of the revelation of the divine. What is more beautiful, obviously, the divine is more revealed in it because he is beauty. He is not ugliness. So, he is a little revealed in one and more revealed in another, or concealed. For instance, the dog and the elephant, he may be concealed, or even in a cripple or a shudra, he may be concealed, and wholly distorted in others. Okay. For instance, you are a cripple. Okay. You don't have a leg, or you are blind. Okay. Wholly distorted. You may see him even less. It's possible. Okay. You must not jump to conclusions that everybody who has lost a leg or a hand or is blind or deaf, they are inferior creatures. You must not think like that. That's not necessary. But the question here is only the revelation of the divine in such cases. That's all he is saying. Okay. And what is their nature? Okay, he is saying what is their nature? He reveals himself according to that. All is yours. All is ourselves. In the cosmic consciousness, everybody is me. Everybody is, and I am in everybody. All is ourself. One self that has taken many shapes. Hatred and disliking and scorn and repulsion, clinging and attachment and preference are natural, necessary even, inevitable at a certain stage. Why he is saying that, we will see. We'll finish the sentence and come back. They attend upon or they help to make and maintain nature's choice in us. So, why is he saying that? He is saying sometimes hatred and dislike and scorn and repulsion, clinging and attachment of preference are natural. Okay, so hatred is necessary at some stage. Yes, because if you become equal to saint and sinner, then you will be in deep trouble. A good man and a murderer, you have to hate the murderer. But when you are at a lower level of consciousness, you have to dislike him. Okay, so that is necessary. Note the word scorn and repulsion. Okay, Sriramdo, when he was in Calcutta, again he is writing against the British. You can't imagine what irony, sharp irony in the Bhante Mataram. Okay, tremendous, but no hatred. So scorn, yes, but no hatred. He says that very clearly in another place. Okay, scorn is necessary sometimes, and clinging and attachment and preference are natural and good also necessary. Why? If you go upstairs to the first floor, when you are going to Sriramdo's room or mother's room, you go on the staircase, and in the middle of the staircase, there is a big notice in mother's hand, red ink. I don't know if you have noticed it, but next time you go, you know, cling to truth. So, clinging is necessary. Okay, for those who are, you have to concentrate and cling to that. So, all these things are very necessary at a certain stage. But once you have crossed that stage, neither hatred, nor disliking, nor scorn, nor clinging and attachment are necessary. That is equality, perfect equality. But you can't expect equality at the lower level. Yes, tell me.
What it means by truth here? Cling to truth. Cling is okay. You have to hold, you have to attach, you have to hang on. But what really mother means by truth here?
Okay. So it depends. Truth for her is very clear. But for us, truth may differ. But your best conception of what is truth, you have to stick to that. Okay? Your conception of truth will be different from my conception of truth. But we have to stick to, everybody has to stick to his conception of truth at the highest level. Whatever you think, okay, is the highest. That you have to stick to. Truth is there at the highest level, truth is there even at the lowest level. Yeah? So, you have to do according to what you think is the best. Siddhartha mentions that in many places. Okay, he says that when we don't know the divine, how can I concentrate on the divine when I don't know what he is and who he is? So you have to do the best you can. You have to act at the height of your consciousness. Truth is not one, Shilpa. Truth is so many, there are different types of truth. So each one has got his own truth, which is valid for him. It may not be valid for somebody else. No? Remember,
But that is the eternal, no? Truth. What is truth only. It does. Whether I may be wrong also for that, no?
you may be wrong, yes, but that doesn't matter. You are forgetting the principle of gradation. Don't forget. At the highest level, truth is there, but when the truth is coming down, it becomes less and less and less and less. Even in matter, there is truth. But the Mayavadis and the Buddhists are saying it is falsehood. Okay, remember the gradation. That's why I keep stressing that these fundamental things you must remember. They will make everything very clear. One is a gradation. Okay, from the highest level to the lowest, there is a gradation of everything, of Sat, of Chit, of Shakti, and of Ananda. Everything is there. Okay, is Ananda not there at our level? But it becomes pleasure, which is false. So there is a gradation. Okay, remember that. Truth at our level is something, and truth at another level is something else. Every plane of consciousness has got its own truths, its own substance, its own Shakti, and its own consciousness. And is valid at that level. It is not valid at another level. This, don't forget this. This is very, very important to remember. The gradation and the different planes of consciousness. And in each plane, the truth is valid only for that plane. I explained it very easily. In the animal world, which is at a pretty lower level, it's a life world at the animal level, he can pounce on another animal and eat it up. No problem at all. He is only maintaining the truth of his own existence. Okay? Can man do that? No. That law has changed entirely. So it is very simple example to understand between the animal and the man. He is there at all the levels. Say a moral man and a spiritual man, again the same principle applies. To the moral man, morality is very, very valid. But to the spiritual man, morality is not valid anymore. Okay? So you must remember this. And also, Mother says something fantastic. She says that all our standards, and also go back to that the chapter standards of conduct. Okay, so all these things you must keep in mind to understand the totality. Okay, standards of conduct. Okay, so at every level there are rules and regulations and laws. But if you go to that's why dharma, okay, is being very much bandied about nowadays in India. Dharma, Sanatana dharma. It is not one thing. Sanatana dharma is there at the lower level, it is there at all the levels. Dharma is not something fixed. Okay? It goes on changing. If you remember the standards of conduct, remember the spiritual level, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam raja. Give up all standards of conduct. So standards of conduct go on varying. So what is truth at one level is not truth at another level, but is valid for you, whatever you think. But you have to be sincere and you stick to what your conception of truth is. Okay? Shilpa?
Ranganath,
Tell me. Yes, Archana.
Ranganath, we can very practically put it that at any level, wherever we are,
Yes.
we should try to know what is the truth and live according to it. Often what we do is, we know this is the truth, we know that this should be done or this is the right or truth,
Yes.
but we compromise with it.
That's
That
right.
is not to be done. That is, I think practically that is. And if we sincerely do this,
Yes.
when we go a little after some years, maybe after some days also, we may realize what decision we took that time was not actually according to the truth. But we don't
Exactly.
repent because we know at that moment we had taken what we thought was the truth. And that truth might change today.
Yes.
Like what I think that time was right, I should have done. Today, I'm looking back, I might have thought that no, this decision was not according to the highest truth. What is it today?
So
I
what
think
you
it is the practical and sincerity which changes as we evolve.
yes.
For a person also, I'm not.
No, you are right. And I said the same thing, but I used two different words. I said you must act at the height of your consciousness, number one. Number two, you must be sincere. So if these two things you combine, it's exactly what you are saying. Okay. You have to act
You
at the
know,
height.
in
Yeah, because
mother's prayers, say
our
concentrate.
desires change our truth, right?
Pardon?
I mean, desires. When we have desires, we tend to change the truth or the value of truth. Because today I desire a mango, I have it, but it is not according to what I should be doing. But tomorrow, when I see the result, then I understand. No, this was desire and not the truth.
That's right. That's you grow. Everyone is growing. Okay.
Yes.
Even at the supermental level, you are growing. Let alone at the lower level. They are growing at every instant if we are sincere. Normally we are not sincere and we go on repeating the same mistake. And as Archana said, sometimes I know the truth, but I am unable to follow it. Okay. In fact, this is a very, very common in human psychology. Okay. I know the truth, but I am unable to follow it. That's in the Duryodhan's very famous example. Okay. I know what is dharma, but I am not able to follow it. I know what is adharma, but I am following it. That is what Duryodhan says to Krishna, okay, in the Mahabharata. So this is, I see the truth and I follow the words. I think even Goethe says that. It's very, very natural. Okay, it's very natural, but you have to be sincere. Yeah. Sunki, you're trying to say something.
Rangada?
Yes.
Yes. Isn't that, when it comes to desire, can you also say the swadharma and swabhava?
No, maybe, I don't know. What are you asking? You are asking whether desire.
Yeah, swadharma and swabhava. So some people have a certain desire which may suits the desire, which may fit his own swadharma.
I think swabhava is a divine quality in the soul. Okay? Whereas a desire is not in the soul. It is there only in the outer nature. Na? It's your vital that is desire. It's your body that is desires. Sometimes there are desires in the mind also. Desire is something which is born in the lower nature, not in the higher nature. In the higher nature, desire becomes aspiration.
But the desire may reflect the higher, aspiration. Would that be possible?
When you are at the lower level, okay, level 1, then there are desires. But that's why you have to go on conquering your desire if you want a spiritual life. If you don't want a spiritual life, absolutely no problem. I have a desire and I satisfy. That's the truth for you. But you are at a very low level. It depends on the level at which you are. Okay.
In mother's prayers and meditation, in
Yes.
one of the prayers, she writes that you should not say that I should have done this or I should have done that. It is that I was not adequately identified with the divine.
Yes.
Because if you are adequately identified with the divine, you know exactly what to do.
That's right. What you're saying is there also in other places also. Okay, so that is true. In fact, even in the Upanishads, it is there that you should not think, you should not have a regret. Regret is of no use at all. You have to correct yourself. Okay, repentance. Okay, oh, I should have done that. I did not do it. That's of no use. Stand up, get up, and start conquering if you are sincere. But sometimes we have the inability, we have no power to resist our desires. But you must be conscious that, okay, I am not able to. You look objectively at yourself and say, okay, so I failed, but I don't want to fail. Mother, help me. Okay? You can, sometimes, very often. In fact, most of us, sometimes we know that what we are doing is not the right thing at all, but still there is no power to stop it. That is very natural. Why? Because there is a divine in you, but there is also the lowest inconscience in you. So both are struggling. In fact, this is the whole symbolism of the Veda. Okay, there is a struggle between the divine and the asuras, and it is symbolic. It is your lower is always pulling you down, and your higher is trying to make you go up. And the more you succeed, the more the higher power will attract you. And slowly, slowly, when you go to the spiritual level of consciousness, the pull becomes much, 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 much less. The pull downwards becomes much less. So, interesting discussion. Shilpa brought up truth. What is truth? So, in fact, it's so famous, na? Even when Jesus was being tried, okay, by the Pontius Pilate, okay, he was being tried, and he said, "What is truth?" Okay, so it's so famous. We don't know what truth is, and he washed his hands. Okay, so that's it. So, what is truth is relevant to you only, okay, and you have to act at the height of your consciousness. But all this applies only when you are sincere about your progress and sincere about your sadhana. For those who are not doing sadhana, very, very consciously also, they will say that what is in all this nonsense? I want to have desire, I want to enjoy myself. Fine. There is no problem with that. You will come to a level after several lives that you will want to change your lower nature. But so long as you don't want to change your lower nature, no problem. But you will suffer the consequences. Because pleasure and pain always go together. The dualities exist in the level 1. There is no escape from dualities. If you have pleasure, you will have pain. No doubt. So, shall we go to the next one? Okay. We have had quite a discussion. And what Archana said, that's exactly what I said also about you have to act sincerely at the height of your consciousness. And if you are acting sincerely, you will see that, oh, I was not able to do that, but I should have done that. That's the awareness of your own limitations. In fact, yoga is very often first the recognition of the limitation in yourself. Second is the desire to get rid of it. Sometimes when you are seeing the limitation in yourself, there is no desire to get rid of it. Okay? Then the third is you start practically putting into practice the rejection of the desire. I remember I had a colleague in the archives, okay, and one day we were discussing his own nature, and I told him very clearly that you must see that you have arrogance, okay, there is arrogance in you. We made a very friendly discussion, it was not a criticism. And he said, I know that very well. Okay, he said that very clearly. He said, I know very well that I am arrogant, but I can do nothing about it. Very clearly he told me, I can do nothing about it. So that's a level 1. But level 2, I want to do something about it. Okay, that's a level 2, and then you go about doing it. And finally you will succeed if you are sincere. Okay? Sincerity is not easy. It takes a long time. Okay.
Gada?
Yes, tell me.
So that's why the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the yoga of dejection. Maybe that's why,
Yes.
you know.
But rejection starts when you want to do yoga. Okay, rejection doesn't start when you don't want to do yoga. Okay.
So the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, so that can be, so that's the case, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The Gita is for those who want to rise to another level of consciousness. No? Yeah. Otherwise, the Gita does not apply to them at all. But those are, nowadays, there is so much in the Gita. It's unbelievable. Okay? So it's important, it's being recognized all over the world now. Okay? So it is there. Advice is there for even those who are at a lower level. And those who are at a higher level also. Everything is there in the Gita. Somebody was asking me the other day that in the last chapter of the Gita, it is very clear Gita says that those who are at a low level, okay, who have no spiritual life at all in them, they should try to become religious. Okay? If they don't even admit God, their next stage will be to become religious. Okay? Religious. Go to the temple, go to the church. Okay? It will start changing you. The second is one who is religious. Okay? Should try to become spiritual. That's the second level. So those who are already spiritual should try to go to the next level. And that's the supramental level. So there are gradations. This law of gradation is very important. Okay? So, the Gita even gives you advice even for the lowest ordinary man. Those who are, they should have dharma. Okay? Dharma is the highest truth at your level. Okay? So, we go to the next one. Okay? So, but to the Karma Yogin, we have got 4 minutes. No, we have got more than that. We have got 7 minutes. I'll finish the paragraph. But to the Karma Yogin, they are a survival, a stumbling block, a process of the ignorance. And as he progresses, they fall away from his nature. So the one who is doing Karma Yoga, attachment and hatred and liking and all this, so is not recommended at all. For ordinary man, sometimes it's necessary. But for the Karma Yogin, no. That's why Sri begins the sentence with but. Okay. He has said that hatred, disliking is necessary at one level, but to the Karma Yogin, they are not. They are a survival, a stumbling block, a process of the ignorance, and as he progresses, they fall away from him. What fall away? Hatred, disliking, scorn, repulsion, clinging, attachment, and preference also. All these have been disappeared. The child soul needs them for its growth. Here you are, he is explaining. The child soul is one who is not developed yet. Okay? He may be at a very, very low level of consciousness. For him, it is necessary. Hatred, disliking, repulsion. You have to repulse that which is ugly. You have to be attached to that which is beautiful. You have to be attached to truth. And to falsehood, you must repulse falsehood. Okay. But to the Karma Yogin, there is one. The child soul needs them for its growth. But they drop from the adult in the divine culture. In the God nature to which we have to rise, there can be an adamantine, even a destructive severity, but not hatred. A divine irony, but not scorn. Okay. It's very interesting. A calm, clear seeing and forceful rejection, but not repulsion and dislike. Even what we have to destroy, we must not abhor or fail to recognize as a disguised and temporary movement of the eternal. Okay? So even what you do, look at the Mahakali, okay? She is killing the asuras. You think she is doing that with anger? Okay. There can be passion of rejection, but there is no hatred. Okay? It is something that needs to be done. Okay? And look at the word very clearly. A divine irony is allowed, but not scorn. Scorn means a little bit of hatred is also there. A divine irony, I can guarantee you, okay, some of the writings in the Vande Mataram against the British, my God, unbelievable irony. 10 times superior to any irony that a human being can produce. They're so fantastic. There's even a poem. Okay. So if I get the reference, I'll give it to you. Okay. There's a poem so ironical, tremendous destructive power it has, but no hatred at all. In fact, that's what he says in the quote. No? He says, I have nothing against the British, but what I want is my own. I should live my own national life. Why should I follow others' laws? That's all I want. I want to live my own life. So British, you have no place here at all. Why are you imposing your civilization on me? Okay, that was his stand. And the judge found that so reasonable, he had to acquit him. Okay, so first of all, in the child soul, then in the adult soul, and then in the God nature. The God nature to which we have to rise There can be an adamantine, very, very strong. Another word for adamantine? Obstinate, if you want, but in a good sense, okay? Obstinate. Even a destructive severity, but not hatred. A divine irony, but not scorn. A calm, clear seeing and forceful rejection, but not repulsion and dislike. Even what we have to destroy, we must not abhor or fail to recognize as a disguised and temporary movement of the eternal. Okay? The divine himself destroys what he has built up because he wants something better. Okay? There are any number of instances like that. The best example is the Atlantis civilization. The Atlantis civilization was destroyed. It went down into the sea, the whole thing. Another thing like that is the Pompeii, vast destruction. Then also we know now that even Dwarka, okay, the whole town went down into the sea. Okay. So the divine destroys what he himself has made because he wants to go to the next level. Okay, destruction and construction. Okay, creation and destruction are all part of the play in the physical world. Okay, and even a yogi, he has to destroy the evil in him and rise to the good. So, but when he is destroying, he must not have hatred for himself. He must not have hatred for his vitals. He must look at it like a machine. Oh, there's a defect in the machine. I have to reject it. Because if you get excited, it won't help at all. It's a very calm, clear, quiet thing. You have to, when you repair a machine, there's no depression. Okay? You just go about repairing it calmly, quietly. See what is the defect and remove. Okay, so we have got only 3 minutes left, but the discussion of, in fact, I can tell you one thing. This equality is such a concept, okay? It's not very easy to understand. So, equality, I'll give you one example, which I think we already discussed once. A mother has 5 children. 3 are normal, 1 is lame and 1 is blind, okay? She loves equally all of them. But will her outer nature, will her outer actions be the same for everybody? No. Because the blind man and the lame man will need more attention. That doesn't mean to say that she is loving differently. Okay? This question arises also in the Gita. Because in one place, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, because you are dear to me. Okay, he says that. And same there's a discussion on that. Okay. Is he not dear to everybody else? So it's a question of you have to understand the equality in a very subtle way. Okay, I think we stop here today. The discussion has been interesting. Think about it. Okay, so Shilpa, your question got us going into this discussion, and then Archana concluded. Okay, so
Good, no?
yeah. It's clear now, na, Shilpa?
Not yet, but of course, I don't have that level to understand so many things. It's a little,
So
maybe.
Shilpa, you are recognizing your own deficiency. That's the first sincerity sign. Okay, we recognize. We don't normally recognize our own deficiencies. Huh? We try to whitewash it. We try to brush over it. No, it's not nothing. That's absolutely wrong. Kiran, you're trying to say something.
No, Ranganath.
Okay. All right. 8:40. I cut the line.